What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm making a little bit of a different video, as you can tell. I'm gonna just go for a drive and give you a somewhat detailed, I guess, review on my Raceland Primo Coilovers and what I think of them, what they were like to install, yeah, just things like that, I guess. Wow, there was a lot of cars in there. What the fuck? I drive a 2010 Mazda Speed 3, 93,000 kilometers on it. It's white, and it's lowered on Raceland Primo Coilovers. Raceland Primo Coilovers are fairly new to Raceland's lineup. So for a couple months, I'd look around online for what I wanted to do next to my car. Lowering it was always at the top of that chart, kind of. So I was always looking at springs and coilovers, and every once in a while bags. Bags were kind of a dream to me. I needed to go somewhere a little bit more affordable for my budget, so I stuck to, or I guess I was deciding between coilovers and springs, lowering springs. So I did my research. I should be doing pulls. But yeah, I did my research and I was stuck between coils and springs. Did I want to pay fairly low for springs, decent price, I guess, or did I want to pay a little bit more and get that extra quality? So I was looking around on the forums, springs versus coils, and everybody had their own opinions, really. Some people said springs with new struts. A lot of people said don't even bother, just go right for the coilovers and you won't be disappointed. So I was stuck between the two, and I obviously went for coilovers. But the reason why I went for coilovers over springs is simply for the fact that I didn't want to have to buy new struts. I didn't want to have to go and make the purchase of a whole set of struts and then also a whole set of springs. I know it's not really any different than coilovers, it just comes with them. That wasn't the only reason. Adjustability, obviously. Great to have adjustability. So yeah, I picked coilovers, and after I decided I wanted coilovers, it was time to figure out what brand I wanted. I didn't want something too cheap, like eBay, no name, just random $3.99 coilovers, just something, no company I've ever heard of or something like that. I didn't want that. I wanted something half decent, but nothing crazy. I did look at BC coilovers for the longest time, and I really wanted them, but it just wasn't worth the money for me right now. So I looked around on YouTube a little bit, and I saw Raceland coilovers. I kind of did a little shopping around, see what I could find, did some more research on some other brands, things like that, but I was mainly focused on Raceland at the time, just because they seemed affordable for my price and decent quality. I went on their site, looked at some coilovers, and saw the Primos. They were the most expensive ones on Raceland's site. Saw the Primos, added them to my cart, went to the checkout, and they kind of sat there for a couple days, to be honest. I waited for another paycheck from my work, obviously I was waiting. Surprisingly, they came in about 3 days. We did them in my driveway. The installation really wasn't too bad for a few guys that didn't know, or I guess had never actually installed coilovers before. We did pretty fucking good, I'd say. We did it in about, hour-wise, we did it in about, I want to say 8 hours maybe. It wasn't too bad to install. We got them installed in the 2 nights. Drove them around for 1,000 kilometers, a little bit more maybe, and then I went into my shop and had a 4-wheel alignment done. But during that 1,000 kilometers, I don't think I have a single complaint. Surprisingly, it's not nearly as bad as a ride as I thought it was going to be honest. Going into the coilovers, I had the mindset that they were just going to be rough as hell, stiff as can be, but they weren't. They're actually really nice. They ride really smooth. Some bumps obviously are pretty bad, but that's what you get for living the low life, I guess. The adjustability on them is absolutely fantastic. Took a little bit getting used to adjust the rears, just because you have to take the whole spring and perch out to do it. It kind of sounds awful, but it's really not. On the Mazda Speed 3s, you just take that pinch bolt out, drop your control arm, take the spring and the perch out and adjust it accordingly. So it's not really that bad. In the front, it's just like your standard coil. Break the lock collar with the 2 spanners that they give you, and then adjust the top collar accordingly. We ended up dropping about 2.5 inches front and back, maybe a little more in the front. So what do I think of these coilovers overall? They look fantastic. They got the height that I really wanted, and the ride quality is better than I thought it was going to be, so it's a bonus, I guess. The only downside to these is how much I paid, I guess. I guess it's not really Raceland's fault for being so expensive, because they really weren't. Like I said, they were $5.99 or $6.99 American, but I live in Canada, so I had to pay a lot to get them across the border, which kind of sucked. But yeah, my overall opinion on these, I'd give them an 8 out of 10, simply because they beat my expectations on what I was actually getting. I read a lot on the internet, on like the forums and whatnot, about how Raceland isn't that good of a company, they're cheap, and yeah, I guess they just get a bad rep, but I mean, I really don't have any complaints about them. They ride nice, the adjustability is fantastic, and they're not bad to install. The only thing, like I said, that really bothered me was just the price of what it cost me to get them to my house, I guess. If any of you guys are thinking of getting Raceland Primos, I'd definitely recommend it. If you want decent coilovers for street use, that isn't going to break the bank on you, I would definitely go with them. Definitely. Great price, great quality.